think that our conversation earlier is a perfect segue for a question that I have for you guys about seasons of disconnect. First, I'm gonna just ask, like, has anybody had a season where they just felt disconnected, just spiritually, religiously, anything like that? Or
Okay.
or a season where your faith caused you to disconnect from the things that you were comfortable with or familiar with.
Yeah. I feel like I'm going through a season of that right now, the latter. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm just in general trying to, what am I trying to do? I think that I've had seasons of disconnect, number one. I'll say that. And typically it was because I'm involved or doing things that I know I really don't got no business doing. You know, the Holy Spirit don't like check me about it and like, yeah, you need to chill, or yeah, you need to stop, or I just know. And so then in general, like condemnation comes on, because that's just what I believe the enemy does. Like lures you into something that you know that's not good for you, and then shames you for it while you do after you get done with it. And then now you feel disconnected from God, and now like you go through seasons just not talking to God. It turns to days, then it's months. Next thing you know, you looked up and you feel completely disconnected from God, right? And so that, and then also in general, I think, I feel like God is just maturing me in my faith, and some of that just involves like staying home, a lot more, like. Sometimes just be kicking it with me and my girl, like, what I'm saying? Saying no to things, like, I ain't really trying to go to that, I really ain't trying to be in that, like, kind of protecting myself, what I'm saying, and what God is trying to do in me, because I do believe that, in general, as we grow as people, God calls us to higher, what I'm saying, and a lot of times that has to do with becoming a certain type of person, and becoming a certain type of person means that maybe you're not doing what everybody else is doing, you know what I'm saying, especially in your free time. And so when you're not doing the same things that other people are doing, in general, there is a disconnect in relationship, because we don't really have a lot of the same interest anymore. And so I feel like I'm dealing with some of that, like, to this day.
What about you guys?
I was literally gonna say I'm struggling with this question, because so you're asking about disconnect from God, right? So even coming from what I was saying, I feel like I'm in a very long season of disconnect. And like I was saying before, I feel like you ever have things happen and you're like, I'm being tested. Like, you just know that you're being tested. So I know for a fact, usually I'm pretty rebellious, and I'm just like, it is what it is. Things are coincidental, but I know for a fact that right now I'm being tested like heavily. So I think that, or I hope that this is maybe the end of this long disconnect. But yeah, I'm still struggling with that question.
I think the answer is yes. I've had seasons of disconnect, especially when I was operating and thinking that I had it all together, and it's not until the things come tumbling down and falling out of your hands, then you're like, oh, where's God at? And then you think twice, oh, I haven't called on him in so long. And so I go through seasons like that periodically, and so right now I'm in a season of reminding myself to be in constant conversation, especially as my life literally brings me things I know I cannot handle, and so I lean into literally my mental health. I've just been like, if my mental health is my brain and these are God's hands, I've just been like, you take it, because I couldn't have fathomed the things that he would be putting in front of me. But even beyond that, I think as far as my faith causing me to disconnect with other people and things, I think one thing a lot of people don't consider when it comes to faith, because in many sects and in many ideologies of walking in your purpose, it is always in a service-oriented context when God gives us gifts as well that we have to nurture in order to serve. And so I know that in strengthening my faith in the gift that God has given me and focusing on honing that has automatically shut me off from things that, even if it's not something I feel like I shouldn't be a part of because of my faith, I no longer have time for this energy. I can no longer carry that energy with the burden that God has given me. And so I've set boundaries and things like that. But I think that's a very important thing to consider. That God also calls us to do things, and sometimes faith looks like being a little bit one-track minded when it comes to whatever He's giving you, and the things that aren't for you will fall off anyways. So sometimes it's a choice, and sometimes it just happens. So,
I did not realize how disconnected I was until I got connected recently. And I feel like it's important to pay attention to, like, yeah, you can pray every day. You could go to church. You could listen to all the sermons that have ever been created and still not be connected. Mm-hmm. And for me, what it was is that I was trying to be in control of everything so deeply that I wasn't allowing God any space in my life. Like, I would pray for things, and then I pray for the thing, and God is like, and I'm like, well, what we should do is put here, there, and there. And then maybe we should. And I'm just like completely just not listening, not being obedient. And then everything is going awry. And I'm like, God, like, and He's like, well, I was actually thinking, and it was just so much chaos. And it wasn't until I finally just like said, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to try to fix nothing. I'm not going to try to explain nothing away. I'm just here I